Today we'll talk about remote provisioning, and I have here a sample app that actually demonstrates how we can execute a declarative remote provisioning for list definition. Okay, so I opened the solution in Visual Studio and it's just asked me to connect to my tenant. So now I'm entering my tenant information. I always forgot the password. Anyways. Works. So now the solution is connected to my SharePoint tenant. Sometimes Visual Studio do this weird thingy. Anyways, so the app is like an empty app. It has nothing, basically, just a default app. And I added a remote event receiver. This remote event receiver will contain a folder, contains the list definition, and here we have two lists, a country list and a city list, and pages is just a default page, and scripts also default scripts. And within the services we add a custom code to the event receivers. If we open the event receivers here, we have a code called, when the application is installed, we're calling a list manager class that actually creates a list. So if you go to the definition of create the lists, it actually gets the list from the list definition folder, get all the XML files, and creates a list. So when it gets this XML files, it gets it in order. So that's why you find me here naming the country list before the city list, because the city will have a reference, a lookup column to the country list. If you open the country list, we will have the list itself, which has a title, and it will have also a URL and the base type. This is the three main attributes that the list manager reads from this element, from this XML node, and creates the list instance. And it has here fields. So here we have the title, which is out of the box created based on this base type, which is the custom list, and we have a single field, custom field. We generated the GeoID here using the create GeoID tool within Visual Studio, and we added a link to a Wikipedia. Sorry, it's like a country flag. This is the name, and the type of the type of this field is an image. Okay, and here, which is additional thing, I can add items. So I have also items node, which contains sub elements, which is item. It has a title and the country flag. The country flag is actually an image tag. Okay, that's how we need to escape the greater than and lower than. So we need to escape these components. We escape the codes. So basically, this is the images loaded from Wikipedia for flag of England, flag of United States, and Australia. So this is the three data which is preloaded. Okay, so if we go back to the create list method here, as we can see, let's hide these two. Okay, so here it's get the list creation information, and it's got the list attribute, the title and the URL, and then the base type, and then it's create the list here, and then for each field it adds the field to the list itself, and here it just replaced the token with the current web ID, which comes from the context, and then after that it will go traverse through the items and create the items. If it's a lookup, it will try to get the lookup ID and add it here. So when we remove our app, the list manager calls a function which is remove lists, which also reads the files here and remove the lists. Okay, let's try to try the application in action. So I already here have a publishing profile, okay, which is called a remote provisioning. So here I'm going to my Azure Web Apps, I have here the remote provisioning web app, which is this app. If I'm creating a new Azure web app, I will just go to download the publish profile and import it here. So I already did that. So let's see if I change anything. I don't think that I change anything in the code. So just DLLs. Okay, so I'm publishing the remote provisioning event receiver as a Azure web app here. So it will be published as remote provisioning.cloudapp.net. Okay. So it's been published here successfully. So what I'm trying to do here, I need to publish my app, which is just out of the box SharePoint app. I'm gonna publish it here. I'm gonna package the app. It will ask you the entry point for the event receiver, and here the client ID. If you don't have a client ID, you need to get to the seller dashboard and register and get a client ID and secret ID and add them in the publishing profile. So I'll just click finish, and I have here my app. So let's go to, no, not this one. Let's go to my tenant here. And let's go to my app catalog. It's under sites apps. I believe I already have a same version into my app catalog, but I'm just looking. So remote provisioning is already there. I can just re-upload it. So I can go back to my developer site or any site and then see the site content just to make sure the app is not there. Oh, I need the developer site, not the app catalog. So let's go to the developer site. Let's go remote provisioning. Let's search for it. So it's not there. So let's add an app. And let's select from your organization. Let's see, we have a remote provisioning app here. Clicking on it. It will ask you that you will trust remote provisioning at azurewebsite.net. I will say yes, trust it. So now the SharePoint is adding my app, and by adding the app, it triggers the app installed event receiver function here, which is actually traversing or reading the files within the list definition folder and creating the country list, adding the country information, which is a title and a flag, and then creating a city list. So now it's new. You look here, you can't find anything, but we need to refresh the page. Refreshing the page, yes, we have here the country list and we have the city list. So here, this is the three countries and for the cities, and here if you click on England, it will open the information from the country list. So the links are already there. So now we created a mechanism to create lists in the host web using declarative XML. Basically, if you need more lists, you just need to add an XML file here, new item, and then let's see, XML file, and name it, just to maintain the order, something else, which is, I don't know, custom list, and then use the same structure like the country, and you can create another one. So you don't need actually to write a code. If you already create your managers, a list manager, you can create a file manager to upload files. Okay, but when you upload files, your app here need to have different permissions. So the current permission here of the app is manage the site collection. So I'm just creating lists and list items. But if I need to upload files to, for example, a master page library, it's like using as like a module element, I will basically create a file manager here, and I will give my app a full control, not manage. I will just elevate the app permission to use a full control. Notice that if you're using a full control permission on an app, you will not be able to publish it to the online store, the Office store, but you can still use it in your put it in your app catalog for your organization. I hope you enjoyed the video, and happy SharePointing.